IT Yahuwah.
I love you.
跟我进来吧。Hello， 大家好，欢迎收看我们这一期的分享。这一期的分享，用婷找到了这一个绝对是个大咖级的人物。因为呢，如果你要讲到芬兰的教育，你绝对要了解 Arkki， 也就是说，我今天要介绍的就是我们的 CEO。Please say hi to our audience first.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Nice to be here.
Yes, and then I say that if we want to understand or we want to know the Finnish education, we definitely have to know Arkki. Arkki has established for 25 years. And then between these 25 years, you are very focused on developing or educate the kids about the architecture. But my question first is, architecture is for us is like such difficult thing, and then in my experience that we think that the architecture is was taught in maybe is taught in university for that age that maybe over 18 years old students, but you start since 4.
Yes.
How
Well, first of all, I would like to comment on the age thing, because I think it's really important that if you want to practice some skills, I think everybody knows that you have to start young. Like we have a lot of experience of playing the piano, doing the dance. So everybody knows that you have to start young. If you start at the age of 18 or 20, it's already a bit late. Of course, it's possible at that time too, but it's better to start earlier. And we focus on teaching creative skills through architecture and design, which means that all ages can do this. So we have different programs and different methodologies that we use for different age groups. And all the children, starting from the young age, can practice these skills. And actually, the skill creativity happens within the brain. So it means that you get different connections between different parts of the brain. So there is no age limit in practicing creativity.
Okay.
And we start with the younger ages. We start with not so difficult concepts. So we start with basic things about space, color, material, form, mass, and different spatial understanding. So even if the children would not become architects, it's a very useful hobby for all, because creativity you need in all kinds of fields in work.
Okay, so that's the you say the point. You say even though the kids doesn't want to be the architect, they still can come to the class to learn something or to be involved in something. But in Asia, the parents always send the kids to the class because we want them to learn something that we can see, or we want to develop their hobby, right? So if first question is, if what my kids seems like interested in the architecture, so I want him to become architect. So if I send to the Arkki, he can become architect, just like boom, just there. That's a line that we can do.
It helps a lot if you are thinking about different creative professions. And architecture is not only a creative profession. Architecture is a very difficult profession because it combines different subjects. It combines engineering, mathematics, art, social sciences, and many different things. So that's one good point why you need to practice. But also architecture involves a lot of spatial understanding. And this is one point that you can learn a lot if you start younger. And many of our students, they choose different professions. As you mentioned, that in Finland, people swift their mind. They don't know very early what they want to become. But even if you want to become an architect, it's very useful to have this as a hobby, because it prepares you for 10 or 20 years, depending on how much you do do this. And for the ones who don't become architects,
yes,
creativity is still needed. So it's not like you waste your time anyway.
Okay, so creativity that you mentioned a lot in your answer. So how we creativity, that's a very how we do that or let the kids use their imagination during the class, because as you say, it's mathematics, everything. So we encourage kids to observe the environment, or how to let them just be creative.
Okay, so we use mostly three-dimensional techniques. So we use constructing, building, modeling, miniature modeling, 3D modeling with the computer. So all these are practicing creativity in three-dimensional world. So art schools usually focus on drawing and painting, which is two-dimensional. And our point is doing three-dimensional things. So it affects many parts in the brain. And the point in creativity is that you know something, but then you connect it in a new way. So we encourage the children to look for their own answers and to develop their own brain. So every child is doing a different thing because the creativity is inside one's own brain. So it's very important that they need and they do their own practice, because we cannot give them creativity. It has to be practiced.
Yeah. Okay, so let me show that the one video you share with me is about your workshop with the kids. So maybe we can have a more idea about how the class goes. Okay, so I think this one is the workshop. Let me see. Go.
Arkki is the leading institute in the world of creative education through architecture and design for children. Arkki is globally one of a kind. Our curriculum is approved by the Finnish Ministry of Education and Culture. Our educational content has been developed and tested for over 25 years in Finland and has received numerous awards and recognitions. Arkki offers a variety of programs suitable for visitors of all ages, starting from 4 years old. Programs range from 2 hours to 1 week in length. Arkki workshops enhance creativity and innovation skills by engaging the pupils in design thinking processes through project-based challenges and hands-on fun learning. The workshops foster the development of critical thinking, collaboration, complex problem solving, and creativity. We want the kids of today to reach their fullest potential and become the creators and innovators of tomorrow. Play, create, succeed is Arkki's motto in learning. See you in Arkki.
Yay! So in the video, I saw that the kids not only build a model, they also go to the forest to build a real tree house.
Yes.
So this is how the workshop go?
Yes, we use different scales. And so we have we call them projects. So we have projects that are different topics. So we have projects about structures, we have projects about city planning, and we have also projects about understanding different cultures. And that is what's happening in this video when you go outside. So we learn about different type of buildings that different cultures around the world have been using. And the method of learning is building by themselves. So I think that's a very different type of learning that happens inside the classroom.
So like your experience, the Finnish parents, because I know Asian parents that maybe after every class, we expect that our kids will give us a very beautiful, or at least a building that I understand that, oh, this is the window, this is the door. So we expect that they have something to show us after every class. So does Finnish parents do that too? Or if their kids cannot show anything that we think that is a good model, what will you tell the parents?
I think it's a bit similar, but a bit different, because I think in Finland we give the children like a more space because we think that if they are only very small, they cannot produce similar outcomes as the adults. So I think we don't have such pressure on the children to produce something that looks like what the adults want, but of course that might happen also. But what is important in this kind of creative learning is that we need to give the children space to do their own steps, because they are still young and they are not able, their motor skills are not the same as adults, so they are usually not able to produce something that looks like what adults would do. But also, actually, because we do prototypes and models, it's not even supposed to look like a finished building or like a competition work. So it is kind of reflecting the thinking and creativity which is inside. So we have to look at the products in a different way. So we have to understand that they are practice and not a final work. So I think it's maybe different type of way of looking at the thing. But if I can say something about music, so I think creativity is like the part in music that is the composing. So first you have to do a lot of learning, which is basic word. You have to learn like very basic things with the piano, and only after, when you understand a whole lot, then you can compose your own music. So that's something that we aim to. We aim for this kind of higher creativity. So there has to be a lot of practice in between, and it's similar to like a basic musical practice.
Yes， 所以根据这个 Pila 告诉我们的呢，也就是说我们呢太重视把小朋友的这个每一堂课的结果可视化，也就是说爸爸妈妈希望马上 immediately 看到一个结果，但其实呢我们应该先给孩子足够的一个空间，展现他们的想法，我们才可以引导他们在一个专业的一个路途上。所以我觉得这是很多芬兰的教育，或者是甚至 Arkki 在这边所做的一件事情，也是actually the idea or concept you use is like the phenomena education that we talk a lot about, that Finland, even government and education very focused and emphasize on the phenomena, because it includes different knowledge and then combined in one project, right? Okay, then this is one more thing, that is you mentioned that we very treasure or respect the kids' opinion or their ideas. So I'm surprised. I think every Asian parents are surprised is after I moved here, I know there's some design week or some activity, events in the Helsinki city. And then they really treasure kids' opinion, and they ask they to design the city or play the part of the city design. It is I mean, why you change? Why they really involve kids? They you know, maybe in Asia we do that, but we just feel, it's happy, and they just like, thank you for coming, but we don't really get their ideas. We just let them be part. But I mean, in Helsinki, I feel like, or in Finland, I feel like they do make it is like a serious, like a adults thing. So do you have any example that Arkki has ever participated before, and then why we do that with the kids?
First, maybe I say a little bit about the background why, and then I can give some examples. I think the background is a cultural background, because like, for example, the UN Convention of the Child Rights, it says that children need to be able to participate in the things that affect them. So because the children are citizens in the city it affects them, it's their environment as well. So that's one of the reasons that child participation is something that we are trying to do in many countries. And especially in Finland started very early. We have been working with, for example, Helsinki City Planning Office, and we have done, Arkki in Finland has done more than 15 projects together with the City Planning Office to try to find out ways how children can be part of the design process of the city and the planning process. And in Finland, we have a law, which is the building law, And the building law says that all citizens should be able to participate, and that includes children as well. So it's something that is in the Finnish politics, that citizens and children should and need to participate as well. It's also like, it's a citizen right, but it's also like obligation. And of course, all different cities are finding different ways how to involve the public.
Oh, that's interesting. It's a law. So 在法律里面，这个小朋友就是公民的一份子，所以他们的那个想法是必须要被重视的。所以也就是为什么每一次的这个活动当中呢，他们不只是玩一玩而已，而是真的把小孩子的想法放在里面。Then I know Arkki not only has a class or workshop in Finland, we also have in 5 different countries that we also put our ideas to there, right? So like you said that I saw, let me show the audience. There's one your project in Vietnam, and then I'm surprised that the kids there, they can express their idea very awesome. Let's see.
Okay, so the first question for you: are you patient enough to listen to kids? I mean, first, as a smart city, you think what to eat? Technology, trees, or something that could satisfy all of their needs?
This project is the kids, what the age that they participate?
All ages from 7 to 15. So we did this together with 300 children.
I see.
And then more children, so they were participating in small groups of 12 children at one time.
Oh.
So, for example, this group came from an orphanage. And then after Arkki's program, they started to use these skills for themselves, and then they proposed things in their own community, and then they got the community adults and some charities to give them money to implement really their ideas. And this was because they in this course they understood that they can also make a difference. They can participate, they can propose, they can show ideas, and they learned some skills how to make these prototypes and how to present their ideas. So they went to present these to the adults and the ones who make decisions, and they really were able to do it. And I think what is interesting is that the course or this project was only 1 week for one child. So in like 25 hours, you can make a big difference.
Oh, they only use 25 hours to make that the
Yes.
city. Wow, that's very amazing.
Yes. So it's really amazing. And now you mostly saw the kids in these pictures that were 10 to 14. So isn't it amazing that they are already like so capable of doing so many things, and they just need a little bit of instruction, a little bit of push and some tools and to show them techniques, how they can express their ideas.
Oh, okay. So I've seen that the successful cases that like this is in Vietnam and also in Bangkok. And then I know that actually my friends also very excited that the Arkki finally launched in China that since last year, but too bad that is because the pandemic thing we stopped for a while. But still, because you already been there, and then you approached the education system in China. What do you have any culture shock?
Well, I think as you mentioned earlier, it's parents are expecting different things than in Europe, and I think the whole culture in Asia and China, it's quicker, that everything happens quicker. Really, the building happens really, constructing happens really fast in China, and I think there is different kind of pace in the living. So I think that was new to us, that parents expect that children become adults like this, and they would become architects in 1 week or 1 hour. And,
Do you have any suggestion that because of that? Because before our interview, the one sentence that you not the one thing you told me that I remember that very clearly, that you say even though we are living in the system, we still can be very creative. That I think it's comfort a lot to Asian parents. 就是说。
Yes.
Pihola 告诉我说，就是虽然我们都觉得可能我们生长在亚洲的教育体制比较束缚我们，然后我们觉得这个就是体制啊，我们就是逃不开这个东西。但是呢，他说如果在这个体制内，我们还是可以让孩子变成有创造力的人。So back to you is how we live in that system. We just have to be that rush every day, and the kids has to grow up maybe faster than Finnish kids. So how can the kids still be creative and then in a happy learning process?
Yes, as you mentioned, it's very good that we are not trying to replace anything. I think we are giving an option to do something on the side. So I think creative education and architecture education is complementing to the math education and STEM education, because actually architecture combines different STEM and STEAM subjects together. And as you mentioned, the phenomenal learning before, it's important that children relate their understanding and the knowledge to real life. So our education enables the children to make use of the math skills that they know, and they can use their physics skills, and then they can understand why they learn physics in the school, because they can, for example, in a bridge project and calculate some construction. And this deepens the knowledge, and it actually gives them more skills and more capabilities to compete in the, for example, the work market, which is very hard in Asia, I know.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Asia kids is good at math, so maybe it's good at your class that they can develop and use more their mathematics knowledge in your class. Yeah. So I see, and then there's another thing that I think in Asia that the parents send their kids to your class, that they will think that, oh, I really a little bit of expectation. Maybe I hope my kids can become the architect one day, or they can on that way to go. Okay, so you are architect. May I ask a very personal question, that your kids, do they want to become the architect, or do you expect them to become an architect if they don't want to? How you feel?
Well, my daughter is now 12 years old, and I think she's changing her opinion all the time. So I'm really like curious and anticipating what she wants, but now she wants to be an animal doctor, and I think that's something which is very typical in Finland, that the children go through these different things, that like children love dreams. So then this is something I think that it's very natural for children to dream of being an animal doctor, but I'm not sure that it will be the same thing that she wants when she's older. And in our culture, we are more looking for what is the children's own opinion of what they want. And of course, I want her to have a good profession or something. That's she has a profession, but I'm trying to not to influence too much or not to pressure, because that's the way the parents do here. They try to listen. What is the talent of the child? My child is now taking singing lessons and piano lessons, so she's really enthusiastic. She sings like 8 hours a day, so I can really feel that she has the passion on that. So my husband and I now we're trying to support this passion.
Wow, 8 hours, that's a long time. Okay.
She sings all the time.
Wow, so she's interested, so she's willing to spend 8 hours on it. So did you try to send her to the workshop too?
Yes. She goes to Arkki as well. So she has been taking the Arkki courses since she was 4.5 years old. And in Finland, it's typical that children have many hobbies. So for example, my daughter, she goes to the climbing school. They climb the wall. She goes to scouts. She goes to these piano and singing lessons and some other sports. So this is very typical that the children are not only, well, of course, some children are having one hobby, because if they already are very professional football, the age of 10, then they maybe don't have time for other hobbies, but usually children have many different type of hobbies, like sport hobbies and music hobbies, and also maybe some other type.
Yeah, in Asia we still send the kids to different hobby class, but we also also included the academic thing. So but in the end, the kids become unhappy because they have so many classes have to go, and then they don't have enough time to sleep too. So so that's a little bit different. Seems like Finnish kids enjoy different classes.
School days are shorter, and that's why they have time for the hobbies in the afternoon, because the school days, like my daughter is in the grade 6, and the schools, they stop at 1, at 2, and 3. So they have different, and then there's a whole lot of time, like all afternoon, to do something else.
Exactly. Finnish kids have just, they only have a half day the class. Yes. My friends told me, one Indian mom told me that finally she sent her big daughter, the oldest daughter, to the school. She's first grade, and then she has another daughter who's go to daycare, and then she's younger. Okay, but one day that around the noon, that her big daughter just come back, say, "Mom, I'm off," and then she's like, "What? Your sister's still in the daycare, and then you are the first one to come home." And then she just like, "And do you have a homework?" "No." And then she just go to the playground play. So she's surprised that the Indian mom. It's very common.
That's very interesting that the first graders only have 21 hours a week. So it means that they have only like 4 or 5 hours a day. And I think it's a good question that you don't need so much. Still, we have very good PISA results, and we only go to school like half day or.
对，所以我想这也是芬兰的本来的教育，他们体制上学生在学校的时间并没有像我们在亚洲的时候这么多，所以呢，他们就有很多的课余时间可以发展他们的兴趣，参加很多也没关系，再加上家长不会放这么多的压力在每一堂课上，说你去参加了就要学点什么回来，所以呢，他们就是让小朋友呢尽量就是享受整个学习的一个过程。And then, before I interview, I say that I'm going to interview Arkki, and then some of my friends are very excited because they can know the Arkki more, but also they have the same question that is about if they have kids that who is interested in architecture, want to become architect, maybe they are older already, they start to choose their major, and then what's your suggestion that you suggest them to go abroad, and which country? Finland is a good place to study the architecture, or any suggestion that you can give to them?
That's a good question. Of course, our program enables children and teenagers of any age to start. So in our program, you don't have to be 4 years old to start. You can start on different ages. Of course, the problem is now that we don't have courses in so many countries. We have courses in 7 countries. But coming to Finland is a bit tricky because we use the Finnish language here. So that's something that people, of course, in the university you can study in English, but in the high schools it's mostly in Finnish language. So it's not so easy to become an exchange student at the high school level here. But we might be having some online courses in Chinese starting in next February, actually. This is news to you as well.
Okay, next year that we are going to have a Chinese online course. That's awesome. Okay, and then like you said, maybe in Finland that before the university that Finnish is the one thing, that the language is the one thing that maybe we are not that easily to get in. Besides Finland, do you have any suggestion that they can, of course they will have their basic education in China already, but if we want to go even further, next step, any country that you suggest or any system that you suggest too?
In the university level?
Yeah.
You mean? I think there is very good universities in a lot of countries. So I think that's a different question. I think what I want to work on is how to provide this already before, because I think actually at university level it's quite late and it's difficult to start at that level if you don't have any practice before. But of course we have good examples. We have good architects all around the world, and everybody has probably started quite late. But maybe those people who are the most talented ones, they have already been practicing on their own as children, so they have been having this passion already, and they have been testing and trying and maybe building some models or something by themselves already. I don't have an answer to your question, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, but just because they asked me the question, so I'm the bridge that I asked you that to say. I think it's depends on very different experience, and then as long as I think, what do you think that a good personality or good in how to become a good architect? Creativity, what the personality that you think that the kids have is good way to put them to this area?
Well, I think the many different sides of creativity are needed, like persistence. It's something that not every architecture is so complicated that things don't happen like this, and many times they don't happen as you want. Also, collaboration is very important because nobody does anything alone. It's huge groups of professionals that you work with. You work with other architects, the engineers, all kinds of different professionals in engineering, and then if you lead the construction, you work with the construction side, you lead the process, and so there's a lot of things you need to know. So communication, cooperation, problem solving, because everything changes. You might need to change something really quickly, so you need to come up with ideas all the time. And this is also that you need to tolerate uncertainty, because there is a lot of changes, because there's a lot of factors that affect the building process, for example.
Cool. So actually your answer surprised me already. You know, I expect your answer maybe like, oh, if your kids is interested in building Lego, or your kids is good at academic sport, they already study well, then maybe you can send them to the architecture area. That's a very typical answer, I think, that the Asian teacher or parents will answer. But you said the cooperation and communication, that is very important for the kids too, or for the architect. So I'm surprised. I think that's really is a hint for the every parents. 就是说沟通的能力，还有我们对于跟人合作的能力，这些能力很多时候是我们忽略的。我们以为这个东西不需要学，但它需要经过很多的练习，它才有可能变成一个未来21世纪小朋友需要的能力最重要的之一。所以 today。Thank you, Paola, to share that all your experience with us. And I hope that next year that more Chinese kids can join your class online and then know more about the architecture. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.